तं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदा मह्यं ददात स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते
जगत्पते
गोपेश
गोपीश
गोपिका
गोपिका
कान्ता
कान्ता
राधा
राधा
कान्ता
कान्ता नमस्तते
तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी
गौरांगी
श्रीराधे
श्रीराधे
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते
नमस्ते
देवी
देवी
प्रणमामि
नमामि हरे
हरिप्रिये
प्रिये
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कल्पतरुपश्च कृपा
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च
एव च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः
नमः
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
कृष्णपृष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
श्रीमते
भक्तिवेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामिने
स्वामी नामिने
नमस्ते सारस्वती
सरस्वती
देवे
देवे
गौरवाणी
गौरवाणी
प्रचारिणे
प्रचारिणि
विशेषशून्यवादी
शून्यवादी
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणि
श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानन्द
नित्यानन्द
श्री
श्री
अद्वैत गदाधर
अद्वैतगदाधर
श्रीवासादि
श्रीवासादि
गौरभक्तः
गौरभक्तवृन्द
हरे
कृष्ण हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे हरे
हरे हरे
हरे
हरे
राम
राम
हरे
हरे
राम
राम
राम राम
राम राम
हरे
हरे हरे
okay Hare Krishna. So let me share my screen 1 second. It is Madhya Leela. Yeah, Madhya Leela, second 22nd chapter, if I'm not wrong. Yes. Madhya Leela 22nd chapter 128th shloka.
128.
Yeah. So this is the one. This describes the Panchanga Bhakti and this glorifies the Panchanga Bhakti. So 128 and 129. Try to memorize. Uh, this might be asked in your exam in any way. Okay. Just try to be ready. Okay, and soon I think in another 4 classes we'll be finishing it. So get ready for your exams, right? Shloka exam and the closed book exam. And yes, let's begin. Mm. So today we will be learning about devotional qualifications
Listen.
and spontaneous devotional service, that is Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, so far what we were learning, which Bhakti we were learning?
Sadhana
Vaidhi
Bhakti.
sadhana.
Sadhana Bhakti.
Sadhana
Vaidhi
Bhakti.
sadhana.
Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Right? So Sadhana Bhakti are divided into how many parts?
2.
2.
What are they?
Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga bhakti.
Yes. And what is Vaidhi Sadhana and Raganuga Sadhana?
Vaidhi sadhana bhakti means non-regulated. No, somebody has to
You have
push us to do bhakti.
you have to perform bhakti as per the scriptures,
Yeah.
revealed scriptures, and recognize instantaneous,
Spontaneous.
spontaneous.
Even spontaneous bhakti is also according to the scriptures, but there is no push needed. Right?
Okay,
But in
okay, madam.
Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, what happens? You need to follow the strict rules and regulations very strictly, and there should be constant monitoring, otherwise, we won't do. Right? We have to, be consistent in our sadhana, etc., etc. But in Raganuga Bhakti, what happens? You automatically follow the rules and regulations without any effort. Effortlessly, you will do it, right? Because you're spontaneous. Like, say, for example, 10 days you're continuously waking up for Mangalarti at like 3:45, you're taking bath and you're going to the temple, right? 11th day, automatically you'll do it, right? And if you don't do it, you'll feel something is missing in your life. That is the Raganuga stage, right? So if you 11th day, if we still don't do it spontaneously, then that means we are still in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. This is just an example. In 10 days, nothing will happen. Takes time, but I'm just giving an example. Okay, so today what we will be learning is 14th chapter.
Qualification.
Yeah, 14th, 15th, and we will try to touch upon the 16th chapter. But this, this session is going to be majorly focused on the next sadhana bhakti, that is Raganuga or spontaneous devotional service. Okay, so 14th chapter will be all about uh, devotional
Qualification.
qualifications. Yes. And yeah, these are just summary. We already and one summary question. What is the pranam mantra of Rupa Goswami? Anyone remembers? I just sang it.
Sri
श्री
Chaitanya
चैतन्य
Bhishtam
मनोभीष्टम
Sthapitam Yon
Huh.
Bhutale
भूतले
Swayam Rupam Kada Madhyam Dadati Swapnadantikam.
Very well, very nice. Meaning?
मीनिंग थोड़ा वीक है.
It's there in the shloka. Make it up. Sri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam. Right?
Yes.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. To desire the desire he manifested on earth, right? Bhutale. And for that, I mean, to manifest that desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on earth, who came? Swayam Rupa. Rupa Goswami himself came. Rupa Manjari herself came to Goloka, came to earth from Goloka, right? Swayam
Yes.
Rupa Gada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantigam. When will Rupa Goswami give his shelter? Give shelter at his lotus feet. So that is the meaning.
Okay.
And we have to always pray for the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Okay, now we enter into 14th chapter, devotional qualifications. And which rasa is being displayed here? Which are the rasas?
माधुर्य रसन and
माधुरी रस.
And then Madhurya, then
Vatsalya.
वात्सल्य.
Vatsalya. Very nice. Then
राग.
what else?
Santaras. That's
Shantara.
cow.
Yes. Cow, the trees, the plants, the peacock, all of them come under Shantaras, trying to give pleasure to the Lord in Shantaras, right? And Madhurya Ras is the topmost,
Yes.
right? So slowly we need to enter into these rasas because we are moving towards Bhava and Prema Bhakti. So that's why we are warming up. Okay, so relation of other practices to sadhana, are they a part of 64 items? If no, what is the relationship with sadhana bhakti? So this is what we will be discussing, right? So 64 items were what Rupa Goswami already described to us, right? And other practices of sadhana, if are they under a part under the under falling under this 64 items? If they are falling under 64 items, then you don't have to worry. You can blindly follow them. But if they are not falling under, then why should we follow them, right? We can't blindly follow, right? Why should we follow them? We should know. That is why this chapter is important. There are other things to be followed along with those 64 items or 64 rules and regulations prescribed by Rupa Goswami. Example is right there, Varnashrama Dharma, right? Rupa Goswami never touches about Varnashrama Dharma. The first thing he talks about is accepting a guru, taking shelter of the guru, taking diksha from the guru, following the guru's instructions, right? These are the things Rupa Goswami talks about, but all the other things that, is necessary is not talked about. So then why we should follow them? That is what we will be learning, right? So Varnashrama Dharma is not an idea, item of bhakti. It's not necessary that, see, Varnashrama Dharma says at the age of 25 you have to get married, and if you are a kshatriya, you should get married to either, if a kshatriya boy can get married to a Vaishya girl or a Shudra girl, but a kshatriya boy cannot get married to a Brahmana girl. And if a Brahmana girl can get married, a Brahmana boy, a Brahmana girl should get married only to to a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, but she cannot, a boy, okay, a Brahmana boy. No, what am I saying? See, higher caste boy can get married to a lower caste girl, but a higher caste girl cannot get married to a lower caste boy, right? If a girl is born in a Brahmana family, she cannot get married to a Kshatriya or a Shudra or a Vaishya. She has to get married only to a Brahmana girl, a boy, right? And also the Vanaprastha ashram, right, where we have to give up the family life, Vanaprastha, and we have to go to the forest, and that it's called retirement phase, right, where you retire from all your material job and everything at 50 years of age, and then you dedicate more time for your olden days it was Ashtanga yoga. People used to give up everything and go to the forest, right? That comes under Vanaprastha stage. Even Dhritarashtra also did that, right? And then comes Sannyasa yoga. Sannyasa ashram is where you detach yourself even from your wife who's come with you along in Vanaprastha, and you just seek shelter of dried leaves and just nature, right? Nothing else, and you're completely detached. It's completely impossible in Kali Yuga. It's not practical, right? First of all, there are no forests also to go to, right? And nobody can do this. We are not that capable, or we are not that great, right? Even Arjuna says, no, Arjuna represents Kali Yuga people, and he says, Chanchalam Himana Krishna, right? So he says, mind is so restless, I can control the wind, but not my mind. That restless it is, so we cannot do all this, right? So it's impractical in this age. So that's why it's not an item of bhakti. Varnashrama in olden days used to lead us to bhakti in Vanaprastha stage, right? Brahmacharya ashram, you learn the rules and regulations and the basic etiquette of life, and Grihastha ashram, you apply it and you bring up children, right? You get married and bring up children, you do deity worship at home, you do a lot of charity and maintain the brahmanas and sannyasis and sadhus and everything. And when you come to Vanaprastha, that's where you become serious and you take up devotional service. And in sannyas ashram, you give up the body, right? When you practice devotional service in a serious way those days, in sannyas ashram stage, everybody would guarantee, like, it was guaranteed that they will go back home, back to Godhead. But it's impossible in this age, right? In this age of Kali, it's everything is different. Even governments say retiring age is like 60 years, not 50. 60 years, we are half old, I mean, full old, right? Backbone doesn't function. We can't sit properly, we can't see properly. It's impossible for us to start bhakti, serious bhakti in that age, right? So that's why it's not recommended as an as an item of bhakti, because it is a system for regulated satisfaction of one's desires. It talks about pravritti marga, right? Regulated sense gratification, but Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or ISKCON movement is completely on Nivritti Marga, right? Nivritti Marga, that is what is talked about, I mean, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Shikshartameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradhari, right? Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna came in the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to talk about Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. That is the Nivritti Marga, not the Pravritti Marga. Vedas will suggest the Pravritti Marga. We learnt all this, the flowery language of the Vedas and etc. in Bhagavad Gita. So here, actual practical path of bhakti is all about Nivritti Marga, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came down to teach, right? It's Vairagya Vidya. And so Varnashrama system belongs to Pravritti Marga. It has nothing to do with pure devotion service. It is regulated. Stage by stage, you might come to pure devotion service, but it's not direct path, right? But bhakti is not that. Bhakti is anyabhilashita shunyam, zero sense gratification, whether it is regulated or not regulated, right? Regulated, still sense gratification is still happening, right? So, but just in a regulated way doesn't mean it is pure bhakti, right? Our way is pure bhakti, that is anyabhilashita shunyam, freedom from personal desire. So one example that is given is for Pravritti Marga, to understand the difference is, without marriage there is no sexual intercourse allowed, right? That is Pravritti Marga. After marriage, for children, there is some kind of sexual intercourse. But in Bhakti Yoga, what we are following, even after marriage, sexual intercourse is allowed only if you are giving birth to devotee children, not ordinary human beings. Prabhupada says even cats and dogs give birth. What is so great about it? Right? If you are a human being, you have to give birth to devotee child, not ordinary child. That's why our sampradaya, what we follow, is coming under Nivritti Marga. We do not have any sense gratification. Even children, we are trying to give birth to devotee children. We are making them devotees. We are bringing them up in a devotee atmosphere so that they will become devotees, right? So this is what we will be learning. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yeah. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked one question, no, to Ramananda Rai. What was that? Anyone knows? Yes, Prabhu? Madhav Prabhu?
Bhakti means how can one engage in bhakti, no?
How can one go back home, back to Godhead in this life itself? What is the engagement process? Yes, very nice. So what does what does Ramananda Rai reply?
Varnashram. By following Varnashram, one can go to Godhead. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, this is only partial realization. Then after that again, Ramananda Rai said that karma, through karma yoga, one can go back to Godhead. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again discarded that karma will become the center if one does that.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
after yes. Then
Yeah.
after that again Ramananda Rai said that what Gyan, not through Gyan,
Yes.
but through
Reading the
Gyan one can go back to Godhead. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that in Kali Yuga, the life of a people is very short. So during that short lifespan, it is impossible to gather so much knowledge. Then finally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that Haritoshanam is very important.
Yes, very
That
nice.
Nam Sankirtan and chanting the holy name of the Lord. That if we do that, then only we can go back to Godhead.
Yes, he says, Stane stita shatikatam tanuvan manobhar. Stane stita, wherever you are. Sit and do your devotional service, which is pure devotional service. Right? Very nice. So Ramananda Rai answers with, he starts with Varnashrama Dharma, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu outright rejects it. Right? In Kali Yuga, it's impossible to perform Varnashrama system. And in fact, people are getting married at 30 years, 40 years, 45 years. Right, Varnashrama, and then 5 years of marriage life, and then 50 years you retire. It's impossible practically. 10 years of marriage life, and then you retire. No, that is also impossible. Even children, the main idea of retiring is wife should be taken care by children. That means children should reach at least 25 years of age where they earn and can run the family, so father can retire. All that is impossible in Kali Yuga, right? So he outright rejects it. And then, yeah, Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, Sakama Karma Yoga, so many things, Ramananda Rai says. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects everything and finally says, Tane Stita. Wherever you are, you sit. No need to quit your job, no need to do Varnashrama, no need to do that, no need to do this. In the condition you are in, right? Even on bed you can do bhakti. Can you imagine? Our Bhagavat Vidhi is so simple. Niyamita smarane na kalaha. Shikshastakam says, no rules and regulations. On bed you can take your japamala and chant. Right? No rules only. So that is how stane stita. Sit wherever you are. Do whatever you're doing. No, doesn't matter. You can just hear the glories of the Lord. Right? Hear about the Lord and chant them. Chanting the holy name of the Lord, chanting the glories, Bhagavad Katha, right? Chaitanya Charitamritam, Chaitanya Leela. Just hear the Leela and tell it to others. If you don't have anyone to tell, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, walls are there. There are so many walls full of mosquitoes and lizards and cockroaches. Tell them. They will get liberated. Can you imagine? So you have to do Kirtanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam is the only way out. Right? That is the ultimatum. Right, so yeah, this you can recommend. You can read the Bhagavatam. What do you call references in your leisure? Okay, so knowledge and renunciation. So next, we are talking about Jnana and Vairagya. Right? So Jnana and Vairagya, Vadanti tat tattvavidas. No, not this. Jnana Vairagya are the byproducts of bhakti. When you do bhakti, if you start doing the devotional service, right? As you progress in devotional service, you will get these two, Jnana and knowledge. You can test yourself where you stand in bhakti. right? The knowledge about the scriptures will increase. Dadami buddhi yogam tam, right? Krishna will give you the knowledge from within, intelligence, where you can progress. That increases, you can feel it, you can witness it. And the next is renunciation, detachment from the material company or material activities, right? Like, for example, say your friends call you for a movie and on a Sunday evening, right? And you have, say, satsang program, right? Say some devotee is giving a class. What do you choose? Right? That shows where you stand in bhakti. That shows the level of renunciation, right? So this is also not present in the 64 items, right? But this helps in bhakti in a different way. How? It frees the distractions, right? With knowledge and renunciation, what happens? Your seriousness for bhakti increases. Bhakti progression will happen, no? So that is helping. So you have to follow it, right? So the distraction will be seized from the sense objects, and you'll focus more on on yourself or on the atma tattva. But you need to ensure if this is going to this is helping you focus directly on Krishna, right? Because this is not going to help you directly focus on Krishna. This is not given in 64 items, right? That is very, very important. So when you detach from the material world, attachment to spiritual should happen. Attachment to spiritual world, that's not happening, and then that detachment is not really a detachment. And because knowledge and renunciation doesn't connect you directly to the attachment phase, attachment to Krishna, it is not a part of the 64 items, but it helps, right? It helps. If you consciously do it, it helps, right? Yeah, but can even make, oh yeah, this is very important. Weeds grow in the heart. And when you're progressing in devotional service, along with the Bhakti Lata beach that is sown in your heart, there are a lot of weeds that grow. What are the weeds? Anyone knows? What are the weeds in Bhakti? So Kuti Nati, there are 6 weeds. It's all mentioned in Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? Kuti Nati, it's called, that is duplicitous behavior. Outside you're one kind of person, and inside your heart you're a total different kind of a person. Right? That is duplicity. That is a weed. The bhakti will not stay strong. Right? We will fall down, one sooner or later we will fall down if we maintain duplicitous behavior. Right? Say outside you're very soft spoken and always smiling, and inside you're always angry, aggressive, right? You'll make plans. Oh god, that person is irritating me, I can't even go and tell him, right? All these things, if you do, then you're actually having duplicitous behavior. And you have to consciously monitor it, because even subtlest form, no, it will destroy the bhakti. Then later when it grows into a big thing, it will be very difficult for us to cut off those weeds. Very difficult. Kutinati is one thing. Then jiva himsa, right? Jiva himsa is not just meat eating. You can mentally torture a person, you can lie to a person. Lying is also jiva himsa, because you're cheating, right? You're insulting a person is jiva himsa. Hitting a person, showing angry, getting aggressive, using unparliamentary language, all this comes under jiva himsa, right? So long way to go for us to become pure devotees, right? These are all, you have to be aware of all these. Then labha, puja, pratishta, all of them, right? Labha, that is, what am I going to gain, why I should do devotional service, why I should take class, why I should hear this class, right? Sometimes, no, when there is class, say morning 6 o'clock, you'll be like, morning 6 o'clock there is class, no, I need to get ready. I would have rather invested this 1 hour in making my office presentation, right? What am I going to gain? This is all long term gain, not immediate gain. If I impress my boss, I'll get immediate pay hike, right? These are all called labha, right? What am I going to gain? What is there for me? These are all weeds, okay? Labha, puja, I should be worshipped like Hiranyakashipu, no? My subtle way also, I should be respected, everybody should follow me. Pratishta, right? Again, same thing, respect. All these come under weeds, and that makes heart harder. This develops through knowledge. When you read lot of scriptures, say Bhagavatam and Charitamritam, everything you might read, but in case that is building up the ahankar, oh, I know so many shlokas, oh, I know so many chapters, right, in your heart, then it is that knowledge is actually transforming into what? Making your heart and heart hard. I mean, and weeds will develop. Right? So that's very important. You need to watch out. That's why Prabhupada says, read in the association of devotees, discuss the scriptures in the association of devotees. That's why I was insisting, earlier to Murari Prabhu, have a Bhakti Vriksha session where you read together. Right? Individually, when you read, one reason is there won't be interest. You might sleep off, and then otherwise there is no time. You can't make time for it. And the third reason is this reason. Sometimes when we read, we'll boast, oh, I read so many pages, and it might be subtle, but going forward, if we do not attend to it, it will grow. That will become hard. The heart will become hard because of that. So these are all given in the book. You can read how to practice detachment without making heart hard. That is why pure devotion service is very, very important. When you chant the holy name, Hari Nama Eva Kevalam, that's the ultimatum. Right? Heart also becomes purer, and because of Vaishnava Seva, the most important thing in devotional service is chanting, hearing, and doing Vaishnava Seva. That will help you develop sincerity, and the heart becomes soft. And with the soft heart, Krishna is revealed faster and in a better way, right? And so this chapter is all about developing sincerity. Very, very important. So you do what you're doing, that is Yukta Vairagya, right? Sthane Sthita, you do what you're doing, but you're doing, the attitude in which you're doing is different, right? So say a car, right? So sometimes Prabhupada, what happened? He got some devotee gifted him a car. I think Roy was something, some big car, okay? uh, okay, I don't know the name. And he uses the car, he used that car, and some devotees, not devotees, some people commented. I think most of you know this pastime, no? Some devotees commented and said, oh, you're a sadhu and you're using such a big car, such a lavish, luxurious car, and all. When Prabhupada, can you imagine? This is practicing Yukta Vairagya. Why not? He is using that car to go to different places for preaching, right? So for preaching, for Krishna's service, anything is accepted. You can accept and you have to accept. That is one of the instructions of Rupa Goswami, right? So not for personal sense gratification, but just for Krishna. Accepts because it's related to Krishna. Yes, right. And yeah, and if that object is taken away from you, you can still continue your preaching or devotional service because you're not attached to it. That is called Yukta Vairagya. If you get attached, like say you lose your phone, you're using your phone for devotional service only, right? Attending class, dropping reminders, contacting devotees, and everything. Yes, you're in WhatsApp groups of all devotee association, all that is there. But can you live if you lose that phone? Impossible, right? We will start panicking. We'll go here, there, all confidential information is there. I need my phone. We go file a complaint and etc. etc. Right? We do all this. So that means Yukta Vairagya is not still developed. It's still in developing stage. Because Yukta Vairagya is where even that item is taken away, you can still practice devotional service without any stress or any issue. You can still practice. Like Srila Prabhupada's that what is that typewriter was stolen. Manuscripts were sold off, right? His wife sold it, the manuscripts, Bhagavad Gita manuscripts, for biscuits and tea and everything. But Prabhupada wrote it again. He never got disturbed. We would have definitely started to scold and jump and do everything at home, no? But Prabhupada, he was like so normal, equipoised, we say, no? Samachitta. So he didn't speak a word. He started to write it again, but next time he got conscious. He was cautious, right? To not make that mistake again. He protected his devotional service by taking sannyas ashram. He left the wife, right? To stay far from people who are disturbing devotional service. So we get purified by offering it to Krishna. We already discussed this, no? It could be a new dress, it could be a new phone, it could be anything you buy. Offer it first to Krishna, right? That purifies it, right? Example, how we offer the food, right? To satisfy. We eat, it is nice, we want to eat, so we make the food, but you offer it to Krishna. While making also, you need to think This is made for Krishna. And at the end of the day, after offering, after Krishna eats, you will only be eating it, right? But you have to bring Krishna in the center. Then it becomes Krishna's, sense. Serving Krishna's senses. Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. We can't independently manufacture what Krishna wants. Therefore, accept from Krishna's representative. Right? I think I've told this pastime many times. There was a van passing by, and Prabhupada was doing his morning walk, and he sees the van, and he continuously sees the van. Right? He never takes off his eyes. All devotees are like surprised. What is there in one van? Why is Prabhupada, like, he was actually narrating some pastime, Krishna's pastime, and he stopped and he started to watch that van, right? All devotees like, what is there in that van? Prabhupada stopped his pastime also, right? And then they asked, what is there in that van, Prabhupada? Why you're watching it like that? Then Prabhupada was like, you're all seeing van. I can see a vehicle carrying Krishna's books. It's not a van for me, it's actually Garuda, right? It's just imagine Prabhupada, how he connects everything to Krishna's service. Now, in a matter of seconds, right? He was like, just imagine, he was like, if we have a van like that, we can put all the books in the van and go do Nagar Sankirtan and book distribution. No need of carrying and straining ourselves. Just imagine what Prabhupada was thinking. Right? Stavara, Jangama, everything moving, non-moving, a devotee sees, and Nija Ishtadeva Spurti. And he connects it to the Lord's service. He sees the Lord in everything. Right? This we even learn in 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, right? Now, Falgu Vairagya, this is also called Markata Vairagya. This we have to reject, like Mayavadis, no? They say for everything, they say, oh, Maya, Maya, Maya. No, right? So they are just, what do you call, artificially renouncing, or Markata means monkey Vairagya, it is said, right? For some time, they will do it. After some time, they will not. They can't, because they can't control. They will develop attachment to it and they will go back to it again. Right? Like Mayavadis, even after liberation, they get Sayuja Mukti and they fall down back into the material world. They take birth like an unsuccessful yogi. Right? Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe. So they take birth. And they're given one more chance to develop devotion to the Lord. Right? So that is artificial renunciation. Even if you can use it, you will not use. Some even devotees do that. Many devotees, right? They get scared. Oh, no, 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 no. Like, for example, say you have to go to the mall to buy a laptop, right? Or something for devotional service, right? And you say, no, no, it's a mall, it's a marketplace, I can't come there. Why not? You're going for buying a laptop. That is Yukta Vairagya, right? So if you reject, if you say, no, no, I can't do it, then it is actually Falgu Vairagya, which we are not supposed to do. Right? Prapanchikataya buddhi hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhihi parityago vairagyam falgu jayate. Prapanchikataya buddhi, right? It's all there in the material world, but it can be used in devotional service. But mumukshubhihi parityago, but out of whatever reason it is, you tend to not use it. You tend to not do it. Right? You refrain yourself. Then it is vairagyam falgu jayate. That vairagya, that kind of vairagya becomes Falgu Vairagya. On the other hand, Yukta Vairagya is Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Right? Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, which is not even connected to Krishna, like a phone, like a laptop, right? You connect it with Krishna's service. That means you're using whatever Krishna gives you, right? You're using it for his own, service, his service, right? So that is a good attitude. That is accepted. Dictaphone, no? Prabhupada used a gadget like dictaphone, which Gargamuni gifted him. When Gargamuni gifted dictaphone, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started jumping. He was like, because you gifted me this dictaphone, I will make sure you will go back home, back to Godhead in this life itself. I will make sure. Can you imagine? Just because you gifted me this dictaphone. I mean, just imagine what kind of blessings we get, no, by doing devotee association. And that is what is going to help us soften our heart, develop sincerity in heart for devotional service. Right? So, because Krishna's things must be used in his service. Yes. Now I have a question before we proceed. How many kinds of, I mean, no, not how many kinds. Are we all pure devotees? That's my question. Yes? Are we all pure devotees?
No, no, Mataji, me no.
No? Yes, Murari Prabhu?
No, no, Mataji.
Pure devotee? No? Others? Anyone there who says you're a pure devotee? No? But I will say we are all pure devotees.
Oh, Mataji.
Any guesses? How? How can we be pure devotees? Think. Any guess? Brainstorm. Brains. Use it for Yukta Vairagya. Use the brain for Krishna's service. Okay.
Whichever things, Hare Krishna Mataji, whichever things we try to use for ourselves, we first offer to Krishna. And everything related in our life, we always relate Krishna as a priority.
So we become pure?
We are on the way to be a pure devotee.
Okay, so you can, yeah, partly correct. So this can be a question at the end of the class. You research, you think, and you let me know the answer. Okay, in case we have a breakout room session, you can answer, you can discuss there, but I don't know if it's there. I think next class we will have a breakout room session. So at the end of the class, you answer. Okay, partly right. Madhureshwari Mataji told, no, that's partly right. Okay, now wealth and followers. Jana and Dhana, no? Na janam na dhanam na sundarim kavitam va jagat.
Jagdish Kamaye, Mama Janmani, Janmani Shari, Bhakta Bhakti Hetu Pitoye.
Haribol. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, na dhanam, na janam. I don't want
Yes.
people, I don't want followers.
Yes.
That's why it's not included in the 64 items of bhakti. Right? But so many senior devotees meet politicians, right? They want more followers. We have ISKCON Mangaluru has Facebook page, more followers we need, right? Then how is this? Isn't it contradicting? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said no janam, no dhanam.
Yes.
Then explain. So what we are doing is wrong.
From what I understand is that followers for your personal fame is what I think Rupa Goswami is rejecting, but followers for Krishna is acceptable.
Eyeball, exactly. That's the message, right? You are going, actually, there is something called Dhananjaya Seva, where people go and ask for donations from politicians, big, like people, big entrepreneurs like Ambani and everything, right? There are a lot of people who go and ask, devotees, right? That is still right. That is not wrong because you are asking for Krishna. What are we doing? Can you imagine? We are begging money for Krishna, not for ourselves, right? That is a pure devotion service we can offer to the Lord. Yeah, so that is pure devotion service. Donation is devotion service, but subsequent use of wealth is not his devotion service. If you're using it for yourself, then it is not devotion service. But otherwise, you can have followers, you can have wealth, because unless we have followers, how will the movement expand? Impossible, no? Now, say there is a Gita 18 course starting, level 1, and there is nobody to propagate, right? If we have followers, if we have a team of devotees to help, then we can help, no? We can, reach far wide and get people to join. So, for Krishna, anything is acceptable. Everything is acceptable for Krishna. Krishna made Yudhishthir Maharaj tell lies and win the Mahabharat war. Even telling lies is acceptable for Krishna's happiness, for Krishna's, satisfaction, right? So everything is accepted. The saintly qualities, ahimsa, satyam, brahmacharya. So these are all very important, no? But these are not mentioned by Rupa Goswami. Why? That also we will learn, right? So in Mahabharat war, what happened? Krishna said, fight Arjuna, fight Arjuna, fight Arjuna. It was not ahimsa tattva or anything, right? So where fighting is needed judicially, we have to do it. Prabhupada says devotees are not, what do you call? Innocent. Devotees are not weak people. right? How Prabhupada and his team fought for Juhu, no? Temple, ISKCON Juhu. Anyone knows that pastime? What happened in ISKCON Juhu? Before the temple was constructed, anyone knows?
Someone claimed no that land belongs to him.
Yeah.
Like
And then
Mataji. Then Prabhupada was dependent on Krishna. So I heard that at night time Narsimha Dev came and put his sharp pierces his chest, no?
yeah,
Mataji.
so what
Then
happened?
more.
Yeah, you're right, Prabhu. So what happened? The owner who gave the land to Prabhupada did not generate proper papers. It was fake, right? So after giving, Prabhupada gave money also for for owning that land. He signed and everything, and then that landowner came back, ex-owner came back and said, "No, no, I have not sold it to anyone. This is my land. You give more money." And he's trying to make fresh sales again. Again, double money, right? So Prabhupada is like, what is this? You have to stand on your words, right? This is cheating. He got angry. And not just that, that landowner brought people, hired, these bad people and beat up devotees. They all devotees got beaten up. Can you imagine? And the Radha Krishna deities, no? Who is it?
Ras
Ras
Bihari, Ras Bihari.
right? The Radha Rasbihari deities were put in a hut. Can you imagine? Hut. And Prabhupada every day he used to promise the deities, I will make sure I will build a big temple for you. You will not be in this hut, for longer. Right? And they got beaten up, all the devotees. There was so much of bloodshed. And Prabhupada came and he got so upset and he was like, when they are beating you all up, what were you doing? Then those devotees like, Ahimsa, we should not beat, no? Prabhupada started to scold them. What is this? For Krishna's service, you have to. What? Then he said, did Arjuna not fight? Right? When it is needed, you have to do it. Right? Judicially, if it's needed, himsa should be done. And Prabhupada prayed to Narsimadev. Can you imagine Prabhupada, who is so good at heart, prayed to Narsimadev? Narsimadev, I don't know how this person should die. He should not be alive. This person should die. And then that's when he was dead. So as Prabhu said, Narasimha Dev actually arranged for his death. He was no more. And then a beautiful temple came up, which is so famous even today all over the world, right? So that is what we have to be very intelligent. Bada Chatur, no? Those who serve the Lord are actually Bada Chatur, highly intelligent. They're not less intelligent. Less intelligent are people who serve demigods, Alpa Medasa. But we are all Sumedasa. We have to have that capacity from the Guru Shastra, Sadhu Chittate Koriya Aikya. Right? From Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we have to understand what is to be done, what is not to be done. We have to inquire and behave. Right? Simply not going and hitting everybody, that is also not allowed. But if it's needed, if it's disturbing your devotional service, if there is no other way at all, right? In case of Juhu temple, there was no other way. That was the last and final way out they had. That's why Prabhupada said, prayed that he should die. And he did not go and kill. He actually prayed. That's it. Right? So yeah, vegetarians are not devotees. This is also very important. Right? All vegetarians are very proud. No, we are vegetarians. Even I was like that before coming to Krishna consciousness. I was like, I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian. I'm so good and all that. Right? Then I understood killing animals. I mean, killing plants also is aparad, and I will get all that karma after coming to Krishna consciousness. Right? And then we all understood. We have to offer, the moment you offer it to the Lord, all that karma goes away and you're eating sanctified food, purified food. Otherwise, 13th chapter, 3rd shloka, Krishna says, you're eating sins only. If you do not offer the foodstuff you're eating, then you're eating sins. What if it is vegetarian, right? So Prabhupada says, no, we are not vegetarians, we are Krishnatarians, right? This is a Prasadarian movement, right? Whatever is offered to Krishna, we eat. We don't differentiate. Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Because Krishna has accepted, we also accept. And even if it is vegetarian, if it's not offered to Krishna, we do not touch it. It's equal to non-vegetarian food. That's what Prabhupada says. right? So, and Prabhupada also mentions, if Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, he will accept egg, chicken and everything, then you can cook. I would have eaten chicken. I would have eaten chicken. I would have eaten egg. Can you imagine? Whatever Krishna eats, I will eat. Right? That is devotees. Devotees do not have personal likes and dislikes. That is very important. Right? So, yeah, Skanda Purana, it's given, no? Devotee, I mean, Hunter Mrigari or Valmiki, I'm not sure, the Ratnakar. You can read it, read the book, right? You'll get a lot of examples. 9 basic types of devotion service. What are they? Yes? No one knows?
Sravanam Kirtanam,
Hmm.
Vishnu Padasivanam,
Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Shravanam
श्रवणं
Padashanam
कीर्तनं विष्णुस्मरणं
Archanam Vandanam Daksam
पादसेवनम्
Saksham
अर्चनं वन्दनं
Atmanivedana.
दास्यं सत्यम् आत्मनिवेदनम्.
Haribol. So, who says this? To whom?
विष्णु
Prahlad Maharaj to the
Hiranyakasipu.
Yeah, Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj says
Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyakashipu. Right? So he says, Bhaktische Navalakshanam. These are the 9 processes of devotional service. And we have this is what I learned in Gurukul. No, Hiranyakashipu says, what did you learn in Gurukul? And he says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Then he's like, what? You should do Hiranyakashipu Smaranam, not Vishnu Smaranam, right? And all that, he gets this ego and then he tries to kill Hiranyakashipu and etc. etc. Now, why these 9 types are not included in the 64 items? Because these 9 types are pure devotion service. There is no way you can go away from Krishna by practicing these 3. It's given by an authority, Mahajana. Prahlad is one of the Dvadasha Mahajana, right? Why? It's because 64 items are expansions of these 9. Can you imagine? Right? Archanam, attending Mangalarti, going to the temple. This is all coming under Archanam. Panchanga Bhakti, deity worship, right? And Pada Sevanam. Whether you massage a devotee's leg or you use your leg to do parikrama, etc., that is also coming under devotions. 64 items. Each and everything. Shravanam, Kirtanam, those are the basics. Those are the main ones coming under devotional service. Right? So this way, all the 9 items are covered in the 64 items of bhakti. Right? So they are specifically not stressed on. Okay, one can achieve ecstatic love by executing all 9 or any one of the 9. So anyone knows who executed each of these? Any examples? Who executed Shravanam?
Amarish Maharaj, everything. All nine.
Amrish Maharaj.
परीक्षित महाराज परीक्षित
Ah.
महाराज
Parikshit Maharaj, Shravanam. Next, Kirtanam.
Sukadeva Goswami.
Yeah, Shukadeva Goswami. Very nice. Then what else? Smaranam?
स्मरणं लक्ष्मी देवी
Prahlad Maharaj.
No, not Lakshmi.
goddess
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, he remembered. No, he always remembered Krishna whenever there was a life threat. And next, Pada Sevanam is Lakshmi Devi, right? Always serving Lord's lotus feet. Which form of the Lord's lotus feet does Lakshmi serve?
विष्णु
We have
क्षीरदायक विष्णु
No, wrong. Think. I will tell you how to differentiate also and how to remember. Which Vishnu?
गर्भदेवी
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Why? And how to remember this? Anyone knows? No one knows. So basically, Karana ocean. Karanodakshaya Vishnu. So Mahasankarshna expands into the 3 Purushavataras. That is, the first expansion is Karanodakshaya Vishnu, right? So Karanodakshaya Vishnu lays on the Karana ocean, which is the causal ocean. It is not completely in the material world. It's actually a boundary, right? Where he glances on the material Mahatattva, and Mahatattva or the material creation will happen. What Karanodakshaya Vishnu does is, laying on that Karana ocean or the causal ocean, he glances and all the universes get generated, multiple universes, right? And each universe, once the universes get generated, Karanodakshaya Vishnu expands into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and in Garbhodakshaya Vishnu form, please remind me, next class I will show it with the Goloka chart. It will be even easier. Or if you can download the Goloka chart or send the link in the chat, I can click on it and I can show you. In Garbhodakshaya Vishnu form, what happens? The Shesha, Ananta Shesha comes, right? And he will lay on the Ananta Shesha. And all this setup is in Garbhodaka ocean, right? In each universe, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu enters and lays on Garbhodaka ocean on Ananta Shesh, and at the feet, Lakshmi Devi will sit and do massaging, right? Feet massaging. And that is when, how to remember is, I will tell you, right? From the Nabhi or the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, lotus stem sprouts, and then the big stem, and then lotus flower comes on top of the stem, and then Brahma takes birth in the lotus stem. Brahma takes birth, and he's called Swayambhu. Why? Swayambhu Narada Shambho Kumara Kapilo Manu. These are Dvadasha Mahajanas, and Swayambhu is the first one, Brahma. Swayambhu means one who does not take birth. But Brahma is taking birth. He dies also. He leaves the body, no, one day. Then why is he called Swayambhu? I just told you the answer. How is he born?
Born from the Nabi of Krishna.
So Lakshmi Devi is sitting right there at his feet, but he's not born like how we are born, no? We need father and mother both to be there. A woman and a man should be there, only then we are born, right? But Lakshmi Devi is sitting right there, but he never even looks at her, right? He rather, we can consider the lotus to be the mother of Brahma, not a female person, right? Or Lakshmi, right? Because he was born from the lotus, from the Nabhi of Krishna, right? That's why he does not take birth as usual. This is the way you can remember. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is where Brahma is born from, and Brahma is born from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Lakshmi is right there, but he does not take help of Lakshmi to create Brahma, right? And Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the standing form of Narayana. They don't lay down on any ocean or anything. I mean, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, right? We've seen this in our Bhagavad Gita presentations, right? Where he stands in the heart, in the standing position. Every atom he enters, again in standing position, right? Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. I will just see if I can zoom it out. Where is it? Oh. Okay. Thank you. So here you can see how Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is. It's disappearing, no? Oh, Krishna. I can't zoom it. You can zoom the screen. Yeah, I can zoom it. Okay, see? This is the Mahat Tattva. This is the Karana ocean. All this is causal ocean, right? It's called Viraja river, right? In Sanskrit, it's called Viraja river or Karana ocean, the causal ocean. And this is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. There is no Anantashesh. He is independent and he has multiple, arms. This is not Chaturbhuja, right? He has multiple arms and he's creating the universes. Each universe is like this. This is one big, each universe is like this. The golden, eggs that you see or the rounds. And each universe will be like this. Can you imagine? This is one universe which is magnified and shown. And here Anantashesh comes and this is Garbhodaka ocean. Each universe is actually just darkness, which Krishna fills it up with water called Garbhodaka ocean. Anantashesh comes and he lays down on that, and then at the feet Lakshmi Devi comes. And then from the Nabhi, this is Chaturbhuja form, okay? And from the Nabhi comes all the, the lotus stem, right? In the lotus stem, and then lotus flower on top. From the lotus flower, it is Brahma who takes birth. First created entity by the Lord is not Brahma, it is the lotus flower. That's why everything of Krishna is compared to lotus, no? Lotus feet, lotus soft skin, lotus eyes, everything is compared to lotus hands and everything, right? And then the stem, right? The stem is divided into the 14 planetary systems like we have, no? The 7 lower is the Tatala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, etc. And the middle is where we are, earthly planets. And then on top, it's heavenly planets. And the final one is Satyaloka. Okay. I don't know, it disappeared. Okay. That is the Satyaloka. These are the... you could see, all of you. Some ad came, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so including Satyaloka, that is Brahma, where Brahma stays, no, the lotus flower, including that, it is 14 planetary systems. Okay, these are there in the stem. This is actually not needed. I just wanted to discuss because all these basics we need to know. And can you see this? There is this thin thread going, no? What is this? What is this thread?
Hare Krishna Mahamantra thread.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra, very nice. And it's coming from where? You can see the source, not even Vaikunta. Goes beyond Vaikunta, you can see here. Goes outside Vaikunta and then gets connected to Goloka. Can you imagine? Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtana. So what does this mean? We are here. Here we are, earthly planets. We have to cling on. And can you see, Hare Krishna Mahamantra doesn't go to any other lower planetary systems. Nor does it touch the higher planetary systems. It only touches the
Directly
earthly
goes.
where we are. Krishna is giving us a rope. You have fallen in a well. I am giving you rope. Climb on, hold and climb. No, we don't want to. We are happy in the well. No, I don't want to come now. Nice in the well. Right? That's what we are doing. So here is the rope. We have to cling on to Hare Krishna Mahamantra and directly bypass. Can you imagine? We go straight away to Goloka, where Radha Krishna Leela happens eternally. Okay. Yeah, and then Karanadakshaya Vishnu is the standing form of the Lord. I don't know if it's there. It should be there, no? It's not given. It's the standing form. Yeah, here. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, sorry. You can see the standing form of the Lord. He stands in the lotus. There is no Lakshmi next to him. In the heart also, it is the same form that is present. The Narayana form or the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu form in all our hearts. There is no Lakshmi present next to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. This is how you need to differentiate between the Vishnus, right? The multiple Vishnus. And yeah, back to, yeah, that is Pada Sevanam. Then what is the next process? Archanam. Who is the example for Archanam?
Prithvi Maharaj.
Akrur.
Actually, there are many. Yeah. Maharaj is the standard example. There are actually many, right, who worship the deity form of the Lord. Okay. Next, what is it? Archanam, Dasyam. Dasyam?
Hanuman.
Hanuman. Very nice. And then Sakyam?
Arjuna.
Arjuna and Gopals. That is utmost Sakyaras. No, Arjuna had Aishwarya Mishra because he was worshipping Dwarka Krishna. But Gopas were worshipping, playing with Vrindavan Krishna. That is the highest, purest form of Sakyaras. Right? And then Sakyam Atmanivedanam. That is Bali Maharaj. We all know. And the one who did all the 9 are Amrish Maharaj. Right? Very beautiful shloka. There's so much to cover actually. We are losing on time. Okay, 9 basic types and devotees who exemplify them. That is what we just discussed, the example. Okay, yeah, this is what we discussed. Yeah, now chapter 15. I think we'll start in the next class. It's already 8. Yeah, now anyone knows the answer or you want to discuss? How can we be called pure devotees?
Because we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Mataji.
So we become pure? Then why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it's a process, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, to become pure?
We are not pure devotees. We are trying to reach
I'm
that
saying
state.
they are pure devotees. How?
Can you repeat that? They are saying that we are pure devotees. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So I'm saying we are all pure devotees. My question is, how can we be called pure devotees?
By cleansing our hearts and minds through the chanting process.
So basically, it's given in Bhagavatam. You can read, you can locate if you want.
In
It's
Navamrita Bhakti, if we do at least one or two, not all the 9, then we'll be considered as devotees.
considered as
Mataji,
devotees, yes. But how pure devotees?
we are practicing Panchanga Bhakti.
So we become pure. Just by practice we become pure.
We are follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So we become pure. Then Chota Haridas got
Yeah.
punishment. See, the answer is very simple. It's given, you can locate, if I'm not wrong, it's given in 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the purports. Prabhupada writes there are 2 kinds of pure devotees. One is the Nitya Siddhas, who are already pure, like Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, right? And all the residents of Goloka, Vaikunta, they're all pure devotees. Because they are pure, they have gotten liberation and they are serving in the eternal spiritual world. But we are also pure devotees, the second category. Why? Because of the sincerity in the heart. Right? Sincerity is very, very okay. Have to practice. All of us practice devotional service. Practice will not make us pure. How sincerely are you practicing? See, all of us have anarthas, no? Anyone here has crossed anartha nivritti stage and gone to nishta? I have not gone. I am still in anartha nivritti. So many anarthas in the heart. Anger, lust, greed, everything. Everything that is not supposed to be there is there in my heart. Okay. But we should be aware of it. We should accept. Some people do not accept it. They say, no, I do not have anger only. I do not have any issues. Right? When you accept it, that is the first step of sincerity. That means you know you have anarthas, and then because you know you have anarthas, you start developing humility in the heart. Right? Otherwise, you'll be like, I am the best. Nobody can beat me in this world. No, that's what we do in the material world. One thing we know properly in our office, and then we start showing off, boasting, right? Everybody will start asking for promotion, hike, and everything because you're good at some skill. But in spiritual world, it's exact opposite, right? You know you have defects in spiritual.
Hare Krishna, we cannot hear you. Hare Krishna Mataji. Can anyone hear?
Now am I audible now?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, yes.
So what I was saying is, in spiritual platform, we don't see what we are good at. We see what we are not good at, our defects. And when you know you have so many defects, you develop humility, right? And that humility becomes very strong. Oh yeah, what am I even? I have so many problems, so many anarthas, right? And you become very, very humble in front, meek and humble in front of devotees and Krishna. That's the one of the symptoms of 6 items of surrender, right? 6 symptoms of surrender. What is that? Karpanya, right? Karpanya it's called, or Atmanikshepa Karpanya. Karpanya is being meek and humble in front of the Lord and his devotees. And with that humility, what happens? Sincerity develops. Because you are humble, mercy flows from Vaishnavas. They will think, wow, he's so nice, he's so humble, right? And then mercy flows through Krishna. I mean, through the devotees, Krishna will send the mercy. And when the mercy flows to us for our devotional service, sincerity will increase. Right? Sincerity is very, very important. That is the qualification. You can read 14 chapter, first paragraph. It requires nothing more than sincerity. It's written there. Final line of the first paragraph. Sincerity is very, very important. And if you're sincere at heart, right, you might not be doing well. Your chanting might not be perfect. Your sadhana might not be perfect. But what is making it perfect? What is making Krishna accept it? That is the sincerity in the heart, humility, right? I'm not able to do it. This is all my standard is. You're accepting it and you're giving it to Krishna, no? That sincerity is very, very important. And that makes us pure devotees. So it's not that once you do some practice, you become pure. It's about the depth. How are you? In what attitude are you doing that practice? Whether it's Panchanga Bhakti or chanting or Shravanam or whatever it is. Attitude matters a lot. Okay. Hare Krishna. With this, I end. Any questions? Any doubts? No questions? Everybody slept?
No, Mataji.
When the test will be there, CV and Shloka.
CV after 3 weeks, Prabhu. 3 weeks from now. Before that, we will have shlokas. I will declare the dates. Most probably next week, I'll tell you all. But start preparing. Also, one more thing, along with the question bank, I mean the handbook questions, I'll also be asking you a few questions from the book. Just a few questions, right? Because reading the book is very, very important, right? Bhakti Shastri degree holders should read the book. Very, very important. So I will be asking very few, not all, maybe just 20% of the questions. You'll have choices also, but I will frame it in a way where you have to read the book also, little bit, okay? Don't get tensed, but little only. It will all be short and nice. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Any other questions? No questions? Then we can end. Thank you all for joining. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।